Hi, everybody. It's Jeff Cohn with SI Restoration. And today I'm going to talk about a question I got yesterday from a client who said, I've got mold. I said, great. Give me some description. I said, well, it's in offices. They're unused. Nobody's been in there. They probably aren't going to be in there for a while. I said, okay. But I said, well, do you see mold? Because some customers think they have mold. That's a big difference between thinking you have mold and actually seeing something that looks like mold. And let me remind you that what looks like mold may not be mold and it may not be an issue. So bear that in mind. So they said, yeah, no, there's significant amounts of visual signs of what we believe is mold. I said, okay, we'll stay there at that point. I said, so are you looking for a mold remediation? They go, no, no, we don't want you tearing things out. I said, okay. So what are you looking for then? They said, well, we want you to come in and wipe down the walls, clean it, use that voodoo chemicals you guys use to make it disappear, and then paint over it. And I said, well, here's the problem. We can't do the work. They went, what do you mean you can't do the work? I said, well, let me explain why. Um, what happens is that you're not getting rid of the mold. What you're doing is wiping it down, yes, and you're killing the surface, yes. But here's the problem. When you see mold on the walls, it's not just on the surface. What happens is, and you have to think of mold is basically in the plant family. So as a plant, you have the flower, the leaves, whatever, and then you have the root system. Well, guess what? Mold works the same way. Whether it grows from inside to outside or it grows on the surface to inside, it's growing not only on the surface but inside the walls. And the customer said, well, Jeffrey, I appreciate that, but we're then asking you to go ahead and put a product down to block it and paint over it. And I said, well, here's our problem. As long as there is knowledgeable, and we're knowledgeable and you're knowledgeable that there is mold issues in the wall, blocking it, painting it over, whatever it is not going to stop the mold spores causing physical issues that people may walk in. Then he promptly stopped me and said, well, Jeff, but nobody's walking in there. And I said, well, I understand that. But if somebody does and someone takes a nice big whiff or breathes in and feels that they're sick and gets sick because of that, we become liable, you become liable. Now, we're not attorneys, by the way, so I'm just giving you a layman's term of what goes on. This is the reason why we walked away from this and politely walked away and said, listen, I'd rather you hire somebody else because there is illegal issues involved in this because of the fact we are knowledgeable of it, and because we're knowledgeable of it and we did not remove it correctly, okay, and hiding it, we become part of the problem. So I proudly said, as I explained to you, so let me explain to you again, blocking it definitely blocks it, but it does not get rid of it, and it's still there. It becomes airborne through the paint, through different areas where the paint may crack, different scenarios. So the solution, and the only solution is to remove the drywall. Okay. Anybody who tells you differently, please have them contact me. I'd love to know how you can get rid of mold without actually having to remove the drywall itself or any material that it's growing on. Now, that means coming in with a mold remediation project, putting it under negative air containment, and following the S520 guidelines. That's the IICRC S520 guidelines, which specifically tells you. Anybody would like to see a copy of that, I'm happy to show them. So people then ask me, just want a side note. So that's the answer that I gave to the client, and that's the answer I would give to you if you want it, done correctly. When I say done correctly, not only done correctly, but to relieve everybody of liability. Now, this doesn't include bringing in a certified industrial hygienist after that to either do a protocol in the beginning or after that to make sure that it is correctly cleaned. Now, I had some other videos about testing. You can look at those. If you have questions, you can contact me. Now, there are some people who do ask about, what about concrete cinder block? Okay, and the answer in that is that it's going to have to be scraped off, and then the best thing you can do is seal it. Okay, That's just the best way to do that. There is no other way except for destroying the concrete block in that. So I don't know any other answers for that situation. But majority of your mold situations are on drywall or carpet, and unfortunately, those have to be removed. If anybody has any questions, my name is Jeff Cohn with SI Restoration, and my phone number is 410-458-5371, which is my personal cell number. And of course, you can contact me through LinkedIn or anytime you see this video. SI Restoration, emergency water damage, fire damage, mold remediation, asbestos abatement, and the repairs of that. Thank you very much.